We move to the US now, where the day 11 of Sean Diddy Combs' trial saw shocking testimony from his former stylist, Deonte Nash. Nash told the court he witnessed Combs violently attacking ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura on several occasions. In one incident, Combs beat Ventura so badly she needed stitches after hitting her head on a bed frame. Nash also revealed that Combs allegedly threatened to release sex tapes of Ventura during drug-fueled parties. The stylist described fearing for his safety after Combs searched his home looking for Ventura. Nash then testified that Ventura often felt pressured to attend parties she did not want to join. The trial also heard from police and fire officials about an arson attack on rapper Kid Cudi's car, allegedly linking it to Combs' circle. Combs denies all charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Nash will now return to the stand tomorrow, followed by Combs' former assistant. We stay in the US, where President Donald Trump has confirmed that he advised Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against launching a military strike on Iran. Speaking on Wednesday, Trump said he made the request during a recent phone call, citing ongoing diplomatic efforts between Washington and Tehran. Trump described the talks as very good and indicated that a potential agreement may be near, stating that a deal could save a lot of lives. He emphasized that any military action at this time would be inappropriate given the sensitive nature of the negotiations. Although he did not rule out the possibility of using military force in the future, Trump reiterated that Israel would take the lead in any such action. Meanwhile, Iran has signaled willingness to allow UN nuclear inspectors access if a deal is met with the US. We now stay in the Middle East, where Iran has executed Pedram Mandani for spying for Israel. Despite family and activist pleas, Mandani, who was 41 years old, was hanged in the Jizlhi Sar prison near Tehran after being held since 2019. Human rights groups say his trial was unfair, denying him a lawyer of his choice and relying on forced confessions. This is the second execution for spying for Israel, but within 2 months, amid a surge in executions across Iran, which activists claim aims to instill fear in society. The government accuses him of passing secrets and meeting Mossad agents. Activists condemn the penalty, saying it is used to suppress dissent and cover systemic issues. Over 480 executions have occurred in Iran this year, including many for political charges. We stay in the Indo-Pacific, where French President Emmanuel Macron has arrived in Yogyakarta, which is a special administrative region located on the island of Java in Indonesia. He was welcomed at the airport by Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto. The two leaders greeted each other warmly before boarding a helicopter to visit a military academy. Macron's visit comes as France and Indonesia sign a preliminary defense pact. Prabowo called France a key partner in upgrading Indonesia's military. Macron arrived from Vietnam earlier this week and will fly to Singapore next week. US President Donald Trump has secured a legal victory in his defamation lawsuit against the Pulitzer Prize Board. The Florida 4th District Court of Appeals ruled that the case can proceed, rejecting the board's request to dismiss it. Trump filed the lawsuit in 2022, alleging the Pulitzer Prize for national reporting awarded to the New York Times and the Washington Post in 2018 was based on false reporting regarding alleged Russian interference in the 2016 US election and its connections to his campaign. The court's decision allows Trump to continue his legal challenge against the Pulitzer Prize board. South Koreans are turning out in record numbers as early voting begins in a snap presidential election triggered by months of political chaos. The vote, set for June the 3rd, follows former President Yoon Suk-yeol's attempts to impose martial law, a move that led to his impeachment and a national crisis. Leading candidate Lee Jae-myung of the Democratic Party cast his vote in Seoul, urging voters to start again as a career of recovery and growth. His remarks come as the Bank of Korea slashes the country's growth outlook to just 0.8% for 2025. The upcoming vote is being closely watched as South Koreans hope to put months of turmoil behind them and restore stability to one of Asia's largest economies. US Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landu met with Indian Foreign Ministry Vikram Misri in Washington today, reaffirming the strategic depth of the US-India partnership. Landu called the relationship a historic zenith and a pillar of 21st century foreign policy. Both sides discussed expanding fair and reciprocal trade, tackling illegal immigration, and boosting counter-narcotics cooperation. The two officials also reiterated their commitment to regional stability and peace. Landu posted on X, calling the working lunch a success and praising India as a crucial ally. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has outlined a 5-point consensus reached with Pacific leaders in a China-Pacific Island countries meeting on May the 28th. The Foreign Minister addressed the outline during a press conference with Kiribati's President and Foreign Minister Teneti Maiamu in Xiamen. The meeting took place in Xiamen in eastern China's Fujian province. As per Wang, this session of the China PICS meeting was the first to be held face-to-face in China since its establishment in 2021. He stated that he and other foreign ministers at the meeting talked in depth about advancing bilateral cooperation and international and regional issues of common concern, reaching a consensus in 5 key areas. We now move over to Africa, where a new cholera outbreak in Sudan has killed 172 people and sickened more than 2,500 over the past week, according to authorities. Medical groups have also reportedly warned that the country's existing health facilities were unable to cope with the surge of patients. This comes as a recent UNICEF report highlighted the growing threat of cholera in Sudan, with more than 7,700 cases and 185 associated deaths reported in Khartoum state alone since January 2025. Alarmingly, over 1,000 cases have affected children under the age of 5. Since the onset of the conflict in April 2023, 3 million people have been forced to flee their homes, displaced internally and across the region. While improved access to parts of Khartoum state has been enabled, more than 34,000 people to return since January. Many are coming back to homes that they have been severely damaged and lack access to basic water and sanitation services. Recent attacks on power infrastructure in Khartoum state have compounded the crisis, disrupting water supplies and forcing families to collect water from unsafe and contaminated sources. Moreover, Doctors Without Borders has warned that sexual violence is near a constant risk for women and girls in Sudan's western region of Darfur, and called for urgent action to protect civilians and provide support for survivors. Between January 2024 and March of 2025, MSF said it had treated 659 survivors of violence in South Darfur, 94% of them women and girls. More than half of them were assaulted by armed actors and nearly a third were minors. Some victims were as young as 5. We stay in the African continent now, where African literary giant Ngugi Wa Thiong'o has died at the age of 87. A towering figure in modern African literature, Ngugi spent 6 decades chronicling Kenya's journey from colonial rule to independence, often at great personal cost. Jailed without trial for his political writing and exiled for over 2 decades, he never stopped fighting for the power of African languages in literature. His debut novel, Weep Not, Child, was the first English-language novel published by an East African, but he later abandoned English entirely, vowing to write only in Kikuyu, even in prison. He wrote on toilet paper. His books, including Devil on the Cross and Petals of Blood, remain foundational texts in post-colonial literature. Ngugi wa Thiong'o leaves behind a legacy that will resonate for generations.